All right, we are live. Let me get this tweeted out so everybody can join in here. 1 second. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I hope everybody had a great trading day today and a good weekend. Awesome. I hope everybody had a good Monday too. So let's see. So today, everything we're going to talk about, of course, is as always, is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review the disclaimer as we get started here. Good, good, good. All right. Well, let's take a look and see where we're at in the market. So what a day today. We finished up 20 points, right? Pretty big, right? The only thing is that today's range was actually pretty narrow, so half of the range was from the gap up, right? So but hey, we'll take it, right? So that gives a bullish candle, right? A bullish hammer for the month so far. So looking pretty good. We've got only a few days left, less than 10 days left, right? Anyway, inside weak so far, but it's in the top of the shadow here, which is really nice. That's a very bullish sign, and this is key. So futures are up right now; they're about 6.25. Obviously today, being 10:21:19. Here we are, right after being pushed down on Friday, right after a red spinning top on Thursday. Kind of pushed down. What that's done, what that did on Thursday is create a minor pivot range right here, a nice turning point pivot right here, and so if we today's range actually, kind of trapped a lot of shorts, right? Because we had a bearish close on Friday. So we gapped up, right? Saw a little bit of covering there at the open, and then just kind of a, slow drift today without any, major earnings or anything like that. But we pushed up, and if we can close above Thursday's high bullishly, right? And ideally with increased volume on the SPX, on the SPY or the S&P futures, right? We could start to see some momentum towards the upside and possibly an all-time high as we work to the top of the channel. So here we are right here, right? If we can close bullishly above these areas here, we could work ourselves to the all-time high and then possibly up to the channel. So we'll see how that goes. From there, let's take a look at the price action from today. Okay. So here's the 5-minute chart, and these are the levels that we tweet out to our private Twitter subscribers and newsletter subscribers, right? With the private Twitter. And so this is what happened, right? So a big part of the day was a gap up, right? So we closed down. Look how they flushed it at the end of the day on Friday. We all remember that, right? Big push down at the close, and then boop, just like that. So anybody who's short into the close, right, and thinking, oh man, this is gonna be a rough weekend, who knows? We gap up, we might, everybody who was short there had to cover this morning, pretty much, right? Because we gapped above, some key pivot levels right here, which we looked at today, and then eventually we pushed above Friday's high. And so that's what happened right here. Big squeeze at the open, but there was still some pressure, right? We saw some upper shadows here and here, right? This ended up forming the 15 orb high, right? Then we came back down, tested the 15 orb below. It looked like we were going to break down, but we had prior resistance, right? That actually became support today, and so that started things to the upside. So just a real quick look at intraday trend lines. Everybody who's watched our 3-minute trend line video, right, knows kind of how these techniques work, right? We have a minor pivot right here, bullish close, and that kind of moved its way up to the 15 orb top. Now I'm not saying that's easy, right? It was kind of a choppy day today, so it made it a little bit challenging, but we chopped around this range a little bit, came above the 15 orb, back down to this our short-term volumetric high, right? Then we came back up, and then we hit the R1 level and finished the day. Okay, so it is what it is. It's kind of where we're at. So let's see, if we get some bullish continuation in tomorrow. I mean, today, if you look at the candle for today, it's kind of a Marubozu candle, right? Not a lot of upper shadow or lower shadow. Almost looks like a straight solid bar. So we'll see how that looks going into tomorrow. So good. So today's conversation just going to continue talking about the 60 anchor. I know I had a lot of questions, the last couple of weeks about it. And so yesterday we start with the definition, which is pretty simple, right? So we look at the here at the end of the day, right? We look for an inside bar, right? And it's a 30-minute bar on the 60-minute chart, because it's the last 30 minutes of the day that it forms, right? And what that does, it gives a lot of compressed energy in there, right? So we can trade it like a normal inside 60, right? So where we look for, a break one way or another. Here we had an inside 60 break to the downside, right? So the reason that we get so much more of a move is because that time compression, right? And also the next candle starts at the open of the next day. So we get extra momentum and volume in it. That gives some powerful moves off of that 60 anchor. We like to call it the 60 anchor because it's a point of reference, right? It's an anchor point that we can use to look for movement. So what happens? What happens if today we just want to kind of talk about what happens if we're inside the range, right? What does that mean by that? So what if we are inside the range of the 60 anchor? It's just like any other time, right? It's just like any other time we have an inside 60, right? So we have an inside 60 right here. We're inside the range right here at the opening of this candle, and then we break to the outside and we go. And why do we do that? Because inside bars, right, are points of indecision, right? They're points of compressed energy, right? They're points where instead of continuing in one direction of price decided to go back inside the range of a prior candle. And on a 60-minute chart, they can be very, very powerful. You see right here, right? It couldn't decide whether it wanted to go up, right? Couldn't decide whether it wanted, and then look at that. So once it broke this to the downside, you had this nice move down, right? And so you can see that right here. That was from 29.39 down to 29.28. So a nice 10-point move on SPX, right? That pays bills, right? So that being said, let's take a look at some examples where we open inside the range. So one particular example, which is pretty nice, is today with Netflix, right? Now, one thing I want to tell everybody is that with the 60 anchors, they move fast, right? It's tough. It's tough to trade. Okay, so sometimes you have to be quick, but a lot of times you get used to it. You start playing with it. You start trading with it. You start paper trading with it. You start to see some results, right? And so let's take a look. So today with Netflix was very, very interesting. And then what we can do is then look at lower time frames, right, to see what is really happening, right? So here you can see yesterday we closed with a 60 anchor on Netflix. So if we go to the 5-minute time frame, right, I want to show you exactly the price behavior around those levels so you could see why it would make sense to trade this to the downside today. So let's take a look here. Let's go to the 5. Okay, I need to do a setting on this real quick. I think it's trying to fit all the studies on here. 1 second. Yep, for some reason it does that. Okay, all right, so here we go. So here's the levels right here for today. Okay, so it looks a little bit like a lot of different levels right here. So, but the key levels that I want to point out are, let me actually remove all studies. Okay, and let's see, that's good. I'll clear this out right here. Okay, and then I just want to add one more study here. So this study just kind of illustrates what the 60 anchor is right here. That's not showing up right there. 1 second. It's okay, I'll draw it on if it doesn't appear here. There it is. Okay, so you see these lines right here? Those represent the inside 60 from the prior day. Okay, it just is a way to just kind of draw it right here so I can show you these levels. Okay, so really, really interesting stuff, right? So what happened today, right, with Netflix? So Netflix had a pretty weak Friday, right? So they had earnings, they just continued to the downside, right? So we got a little follow through the downside today. So here, right, we opened up low. We opened up below the 60 anchor range, okay? And then we came back in. So what I want to show you here is the price behavior, at the open as we got more strength, right? So at this point, do we really want to go long, right, over the 60 anchor level, right? And the answer is, well, not necessarily, right? Because just above that 60 anchor, we had some resistance right here, right? So you can see by using our price action methodologies that we can see that trading the 60 anchor actually made a pretty good short off of these levels initially, right? Because we had an upper shadow here, it was showing, oh, I don't really want to be inside the range, and then we had an upper shadow here, and it closed inside the range. Okay, so right, that is the discussion today, which is the inside the range, right? So once we're in here, we need to figure out which way, right, that we would expect things to go. Okay, and so we can use price action at these levels for indications. Okay, so here, right, we can see we couldn't break out of the range right here, so we had an upper shadow there. We had an upper shadow to start, right? And this bar right here was really key because we came over here on the next 5, and then we gave one more upper shadow at that, and we closed bearishly below the range. And so that is a nice indication with an inside bar. So now if I switch everything to, right, so you can see which bars are yellow, right? We like to trade the breaks of the yellow bars, right, the inside bars. So here you go, right off the 5-minute chart. There's your inside bar. Breaks below the 60 anchor right there. That makes an excellent short opportunity right here through all these levels, and it gives you that move to the downside. So that's approximately 274, some change to 269. So a nice 5-point move on Netflix to the downside. Okay, and that's just using these 60 anchor levels and price action around them. Now let's take a look at another example. So Netflix actually did the same thing recently. Okay, so let's go. We'll talk about this type of setup later. Okay, and so we had this range here, I believe it was on the 16th. You can see we actually had a double inside 60 anchor here, right? So with the double inside 60 anchor, let's go on the price action on the 16th. Okay. And check it out here. Let's see if that pulls up daily here for us. Yep, it did. So 17th, so here's the 16th. So we have this level right here. So just to show, what happened, right? So with that double inside 60 here to close, going into the 16th. So here you could see what happened, how, why we might have pushed through this range right here. It was very, very compressed, right? And we had, some pre-market levels, right, that defined, a range that we might be able to break out of. And so what happens is we open just below the 60 anchor range right here. And what's really, really key is what it did, what it told us by not wanting to go down here. This lower shadow right here was key. So now I'm telling you these moves are very, very fast, but they can be very explosive, right? So you have to be fast on the draw, especially with options, right? And have to be able to move those stops up quickly. So when you see that breakdown initially, and that's usually what we want to see, right? So once we get back in that range, right, then we can look to trade through the 60 anchor level for a push to the upside right there. So you can see how quickly it came back in, but it was a very, very fast move, which ended up being, a very good trade. So let's take a look here at just take a look at what the options look like there. So we look at the 18th from last week. So it'll be the .Netflix 191018 calls, and let's just look at the 285s. Okay, so you can see exactly how this played out with options on the 5-minute chart on the 16th. Okay. So right here, okay, so you can see as we came back through the range, right? Now obviously this is expensive, right, because it was pre-earnings, so the premium is really high, but you can see here coming through this range, right, you have to imagine it's somewhere around this area. So it's about 1379 and give a real quick spike up to 1456 for a nice 1-point move, and then continued even farther, right? Well, yeah, continue even farther for a quick push up, right? So that's a quick look at the move for over a point. Just trading through the range. Once we're inside it, we can identify using the price action, the lower shadow, to show that we can get a move off of that. So, okay, well at this point, hopefully you guys found that helpful. At this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can, and we'll try to wrap up by 10:30 so we can all get a good night's sleep and have an awesome trading day tomorrow. So good. Awesome stuff. Let me see if I got any messages in from Shirley here. Okay, nothing yet. Good. I mean, all good. So, all right, there we go. So, and then Amex, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in. Matthew, what's up? Good evening. Let's take a look. Morgan Stanley, Cat, and AbbVie. Definitely. Let's take a look here. Let's go to the candle chart here. Let's see what we've got going on. So Morgan Stanley had some earnings the other day. Excuse me, a little sip of water there. Okay, so earnings on the 17th before the market, right? So they gapped up and came down. Why did they do that, right? Did we gap over any of these pivot levels right here? No, so it has a strong probability for a reversal. So when that happens, we look at our 15 orders, right? We look to trade those to the downside, right? We look for a reversal on that. Now, we didn't quite fill the gap yet, right? So it gave a little bit of spinning top and then a reversal back up. So at this point, right, we are bullish until proven otherwise, right? So let's take a look here. Just kind of see what's happening. So that's what's going on there with Morgan Stanley. Now let's just take a look where it is from these highs up here, right? We hit these lows, then we have this. So again, we're over a lot of these key levels, right? So we are bullish here until proven otherwise. So just to see how it holds that trend line. Caterpillar, let's take a look there. Yeah, I mean, it's been surprisingly strong, right? So I think I actually have some trend lines up on here. Let's see if they kind of come through. So the macro trend line right now is down on Caterpillar, right? So we're still below that. We do have earnings coming up again on the 23rd, okay? So it's putting in a lot of upper shadows up here at these prior pivot points, right? So it's into some resistance right now. So really it needs a catalyst to get out of that, and it's a catalyst, right? It's a catalyst to do that, and possibly earnings could do that. So let's see how that looks kind of going into that. And then AbbVie. Wow. Yeah, AbbVie's doing really well. So it had obviously this down move right here, minor pivot, nice close here, right above those levels, then continue to drift up. So at this point, we can kind of look at it, multiple different ways, but the bigger the trend line, the better. Right, so here you can see that's kind of the macro line. This is kind of like the bump and run line right there. So it's holding that trend line, and is a bullish until proven otherwise. Let's just see how it looks here. Yep, there's your macro down line. So it is working itself up. I do like some of the closes right here. I like how it got through its its dividend area. Let's see if we can close bullishly above these levels again with some increasing volume, and then we might see a continued move up the trend line. Great stuff. And Namex, what's going on? All right, so we got Netflix, Roku, and Apple, and cost. Nice. So Netflix. So Netflix is interesting, right? It's in kind of an interesting area right here. So it broke out nicely after earnings, but it closed bearishly outside of earnings. So it rejected its earnings, right? And why did it do that? Did it gap over any major pivots? Not really. It didn't get above here. It didn't get above here. So not surprised to see a reversal, right? Just like a Morgan Stanley. So it came down, broke through the cloud, right? And then got some follow through to the downside, right? And now it's kind of, looking for a little bit of support in this congestion zone. We do have a minor trend line right here after this breakout, right? And so just kind of tagging here. So let's see if it holds these levels right here and works its way back up to the cloud and possibly does that closing gap there. Okay, Roku. So Roku had some interesting moves today. Not a huge amount of volume. It is basically hanging out below the channel right now, right? So it needs to get above these levels right here, get back in the cloud, and start to work its way up, so we can work on our a new trend line. Otherwise, be careful; it might close below these levels here, right, and then get bearish again and kind of work its way down. It's got some gaps below, so we just have to kind of be aware of that. Apple. Yeah, so Apple has been extremely bullish, right? So interestingly enough, still not as much volume as Friday, right? But option, I guess it was option expiration day on Friday, but it is holding its upward trend line right here, so it remains bullish until proven otherwise. Let's see if we can get up into the 250s. And Costco. Welcome to Costco. I love you. So Costco is pretty wild. Macro trend is up, right? Let's let that pull up here real quick. Okay. So this macro trend line here is up, right? And then after earnings, right, we had a big move after earnings. Nice hammer right here. Okay. We actually swung that for some profit. And then we have this right here. Kind of wish I held to those points right there, but still, it's a good trade. Okay. So we have this right here. So basically, bullish micro, bullish, intermediate line, bullish macro line. So as long as it holds this trend line, we're bullish till proven otherwise, might work its way back to these all-time highs. So nice stuff. MicroTrader, what's going on? Good evening. Good to see you. MTN, what's happening? IWM shooting star. Oh no. There was a big institutional block trade today on IWM calls. I think they bought like November. Some ridiculous amount of November. Let me pull this up real quick. Can't remember the exact amount. Hold on. Let's see if this pulls up. Yeah, so they got like the November 165 calls. Let's see. Yeah, so there's a very bullish bet. Oh, that was, wow, 16,000 at 155. 165. Look at that, guys. Huge. Huge. I think they bought like 41,000 at the time. So and I think I got them at like 11 cents. So somebody's really thinking this thing's going to go up, right? You don't see that on the put side, right? You see like, 4,000, 3,000, some of that. So someone's looking to make maybe a 10x trade, right, on $40,000. So just so you know, okay, that we take that all with a grain of salt, right? So we don't know if they're hedging against something or whatever the case is, right? So it's never exactly defined, but it is interesting to see that. Anyway, so topping tail today. So definitely a shooting star pattern. So we would expect to see some downside, follow through on this. But again, it all depends, right? So if we open in the range, we might see a tail still at the upside. It might be just a continuation, essentially inverted hammer, continuation move. So see if it does it, but it does leave a gap below. So let's see what that does. Okay. Good, but I definitely want to keep an eye on it. If it continues to get more bearish and then it starts to look bullish again, I might buy some of those 165 calls at like 2 cents and then just kind of ride the wave of whoever was thinking that. So anyway, let them have the pain and we'll get the benefit, right? So anyway, we'll see them. Good. Trader VR, what's happening? Good to see you. Let's take a look at Netflix. We just took a glance at that a minute ago, but let's see. So yeah, so it's holding kind of this. It hasn't quite started the mega reversal yet. It tried with earnings. It had a lot of volume. Kind of came back in, drifted down. Some people gave up on it, but today it kind of held its own pretty well today. So let's see if it can hold this kind of little minor upward trend line here, work its way back up to the cloud. Shop. Yeah, so shop with the Harami, right? So the real body within the prior day's real body. Okay, so at this point, right, we really nailed this kind of spinning top right here at the cloud at the top of this zigzag channel on the top of this bear flag, right? So now we consider that wave A. So at this point, is this like A, B, C? Or are we looking for a wave C down to finish wave B? And I think it is possible. So let's take a look at that, see what handles there, and then we'll see how earnings goes. Maybe it'll come back up to that wave C there, and then I would expect to see a sharp move down. So let's see what they have in store. But we'll look for short setups on that one. CRWD. CrowdStrike, wow, finally didn't have a rough red day. I mean, it just really came down a lot since its inside day at the downward trend line. It's continuing its way down there. So again, it's still bearish until proven otherwise. So just kind of keep an eye on it there. Pins is starting to look interesting. I've got a lot of I got a lot of DMs about pins. Pins is still below the macro trend line. Okay, so even though it is getting bullish, it's getting a lot of upgrades, things like that. It's still below the macro trend line. So we'll wait, see if it gets over it, see if it closes bullish, of it, increase volume, and then we could look to trade that. We could look to swing that long. And then Dust. Nice outside day today. So it could get bullish again. Macro trend is down. Okay. So let's see if we can get it over these levels here first, possibly out of the cloud, and then we'll see if we can work its way up to the this trend line here. And then we'll see what it does there. Great ones. MTN, Starbucks, yeah, let's take a look. S-Bucks, buy the drip one of these days. Okay, so macro trend or intermediate trend line right now is down still. So let's wait till this comes up. Okay, intermediate trend line is down. But we are still trying to work our way up above it, right? So just give it some time. It might take an earnings catalyst to get it there. So yeah, we'll wait for the 15 orb and see what it does for us. Akshay, what's going on? Hope you're doing well, man. Great day today. PayPal ahead of your earnings, and you and your earnings. PYPL. Okay, let's take a look. It's PYPL. Okay, yep, minor pivot right here. I mean, it is downtrending, right? So if that it's downtrending, but you have some pitchfork support here, and then you have possible breakout right here with the cloud right there. I don't know. It looks like it might be kind of range bound. And then UNH, yeah. So UNH inside day today, I believe. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on this. You can see I already have an alert on it. So if we could break that inside day up, it might correspond with some cloud break momentum to the upside. So hopefully that does that. Thomas, what's happening? Snap. Snap, crackle, pop. Ooh, yeah, nice candle today. So, wow. Oh, I was like, why didn't I swing this? Oh, yeah, because it's going into earnings. We looked at this as a potential swing at the close today, and I was like, it's a little too close to earnings. It might get a little bit of a move up, but let's wait till after earnings and see what it does. Guys, this is a perfect candle, closing all these levels right here. Again, just with earnings tomorrow, just kind of want to give it a little bit. It could get a little gap up tomorrow, but I just can't buy those kind of premiums. Harvey, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, sir. MTN, did anyone else not get notification tonight? Did I not tweet it out? Did it not come through by email? I got the tweet here I could see, and I am seeing in my email that it came out too. So I'm not sure why it didn't happen. But thank you for tuning in. That's really weird. What time did it come? It didn't get to my email until 9:32, even though I went live at 9:30. So maybe a little delayed there. So sorry, guys. Can't make YouTube, can't control YouTube, right? It's got a mind of its own. Sarah, good evening. Hope you're doing great. Enjoy Life Apparel. Good evening. Enjoy Life Apparel. MTN VR. Just the tweet. Yeah. John, hi. How's it going? Thanks for tuning in, John. Twitter. Let's take a look here. Yeah, it's starting to get interesting. Obviously, earnings coming up soon. Here's your macro. Here's your intermediate channel right here. Okay, so kind of hold these levels. So it's still below that. It's got to get above it, close bullishly, kind of go from there. Clouds right there too. So it's very, very interesting on Twitter. Seneca, what's going on? Hope you're doing great. TTD? Yeah, awesome. Yeah, my pleasure on the 60 anchor. Just helps to give some clarity of what we look for, right? And why those levels are so important. And we'll talk about the levels themselves later this week. That's the good stuff. TTD? Okay, TTD with a Harami day. So real body is contained by the prior day's real body. So we'll kind of treat it, see how it handles a breakout of those levels. Right now, kind of compressed. We did swing this last week from here to here, so that was really nice. It got a real nice move off of that. So yeah, so we'll see how it holds right now. Right now, we're just kind of waiting to see what it's going to do. It's either going to close above these levels, work its way back up the cloud, or it's going to get new lows and give us a fresh trend line. So that's what we have on that. Nice. Dimitri, what's going on? MTN, cool. Godwin, what's going on? How do you set your stops in the 60 anchor trades? So I don't trade these with my group, because what I realize is I used to trade them on my own, and I used to trade them really fast, and so it's really really tough, right, when you kind of tweet out a trade and all that stuff, and the trade is over by the time it gets to everybody's like Twitter. So just for example, so what I always do is like, once it breaks, or I confirm it with the price action one direction, it's such a high momentum move because it comes right off the open. I typically move my stops to profit right away, right, and then I just trail it up. Okay, it's not as quantitative as as we would like, right? So ultimately, probably what I would do, right, is just take the inside day down. I'd probably move my stops pretty quickly, right? I might even keep it a little bit just above the 60 anchor range or something like that. Give it a minute to work, and then once it starts going, right, I move my stops to profit, and I just kind of trail it down, right? So that's usually the key. Another thing I like to do is possibly use the VWAP. Okay, I use it as a guide, or 50% of the range of the 60 anchor. Those are the two other methods that you could do. Okay, so you try to keep your stop above the VWAP, maybe like 10 cents or 20 cents above it, right? So that's one idea to do there. You can use that as your kind of guide point, or just have it halfway through the anchor. Sometimes if I see it coming through like this, right, and I go short here, I might have my stop just at the top of the anchor right here and let it work that way. So I do it like 3 different ways or so, but a lot of times I like to move my stops to profit as quickly as possible. So again, it's a fast trade, right? Especially right at the open, right? We'll talk later this week how we can use these levels, though, how important these levels, though, can be for a setup for another move. Okay, so that's really where the more controlled trades come from. The open is a little bit like the Wild West. It can be a little bit crazy. So yeah. Good question. Nudipoo, VFF, and STMP. Oh yeah, let's look at STMP real quick here. Look at this, guys. Let's see if it pulls up for us. Boom! On STMP. Look at that. Huge move back up to 97. Look at that. The way this thing moves, this thing is just an island maker, right? Just amazing stuff. So if it gets above like this, our gap and go level, this 100 level, now this is really really tough to trade with options. Okay, like the spreads get really really crazy. But if anybody likes, I think people just play it just for earnings. But yeah, worked its way up there to 100. Really incredible stuff. So you can look to do the 15 orb on it tomorrow. Just watch out the spreads on those options. And then VFF. Okay. Yeah, so VFF looking interesting here. Let's just take a look. Okay, there. Let's go to the daily candles. Okay, so generally, right, the macro trend is down. Okay. The intermediate trend is down. Okay. So we just need to kind of see how it holds these levels, right? Possibly look for short setups, right? If anything's going to happen, this thing's going to fail to the short side, right? But just see what it does here. What I'd like to see it kind of build up to this trend line, then look for a short off of that. Okay. Nahas, what's going on? CCI? Yeah. So nice inside day here, a little bit of a red candle, right? So, but I do like it. It's it's looking very bullish right here. Another one that you might want to look at too is AMT, American Tower. Look at this close very bullishly here with an inside bar. That looks like it's ready to pop. So that's just another one to look at. But CCI does look good too. Session, what's up? I was just gonna say, Session had mentioned that earlier. Yeah, so AMT obviously looks good. HD, I was like, where's Session? HD. Almost bearish engulfing. I'm not sure. Kind of got through those levels right here, but it did hold this trend line right here. So again, it continues to kind of test the new all-time highs. MU. Oh yeah, MU. Gosh, I don't think I even saw what happened with earnings with this. It was so off the radar. But interesting stuff right there, right? So it gave a really bearish move, right? Got some continuation as it filled some gaps, right? And then it started to reverse its way back up. Couldn't get through the gap resistance right here. Now it's at the cloud. So we have this downward trend line right here. It's got to get above these levels here to start to get interesting. Other than that, could be bearish. And then ZS. Let's take a look. Ooh, wow. Super duper bearish. Okay, macro trend is down. It just fails every time it tries. Shorting any rips there seems to be a good strategy. Let's just take a look here at the 15, see if it's doing anything. Yeah, so I mean, look at this. It's a big move up here, inside 15, down, right? Big down move from the open, double inside 15, down, right? So these type of setups, right, are important to look for. Especially when you know what's happening with the trend. Very, very key stuff. Thomas, what's going on? MO? Yeah, let's take a look at MO. Oh, wow, that's really bullish right there. I wish we could see more volume on this, but I kind of like the doji sandwich type setup with it. Macro trend is down. Okay, here's the macro trend. So this spike on, oh my goodness. There we go. This spike on this day just kind of shows that how downtrendy it is, right? But it might be just working up to test that trend level. Okay, so big move right here. This was actually the day to potentially get long right here, right? Nice increased volume. I don't like the decreased volume on today's candle though. It is nice, but it makes it a little bit less confident to trade. There's something to look at there. Good. Good stuff. NetFry, what's going on? Any hope in CNC? It was looking pretty good the other day. Oh, congratulations, by the way, on Tiva. I didn't hear anything from you about it, but nice spike on that. So if you still had a position, good job on that. Okay, so CNC is looking really interesting, right? So it had this bearish move right here. So I'm sorry, bullish move right here, right? So I really like this, and it just doesn't seem to be doing it. But the only thing I didn't like probably is that it's coming right into earnings. So that's the only risk right there. So I don't know if they're trying to push it down before it or what the case is, but hopefully earnings works out well. Yep. So we'll see you in the morning on that one. MTN, what's going on? BA, low in with the market up, or no telling till after earnings. Yeah, I'm not doing anything until after earnings on this thing. I mean, I might find a day trade or something like that. We see a go bar or something like that. But if we have here, it's got support here at this level. This next level here is 319.55. So we'll see. We'll see if we can grab that. But again, earnings are coming up, and we'll see, it can do anything at that point. I mean, if they have really, really bad guidance and have some nasty discussion about their planes, right? They could have a really horrible earnings report. It could be pretty ugly. But if they give some good forward guidance and say, hey, we're making some corrections and things are going good, blah 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 blah, this stuff was unfounded, it might see a decent move. So we just have to kind of keep an eye on it. So we'll wait till after earnings for sure. Wendy, good morning. Hope you're having a great day today. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope the alerts went out for everybody on the email. I saw it came through mine, but I heard some didn't. But anyway, let's take a look and see what we got going on here. So you got Huya. So Huya, want to be a little bit careful with this, right? Okay, so macro trend line, Wendy, is down. Okay, so this macro downtrend. All right, so you have to be careful with that. Okay. From here to here. Okay, so try to break out and failed. So there's a couple failed breakouts, got back to the trend line and failed. And so right now the trend is down until proven otherwise, right? So it gave an inside day. So I have an alert right here already on it. So if it takes that inside day down, it's a little bit risky. You got some support right there, but it might continue to work on that downtrend. So something to be careful with. MDLZ, Mondelez. Very, very bearish right here. So tight range though, so it makes it tough to anticipate. So we originally had a very, very bullish macro trend, right? It's tried to break down a few times. If anything, it sort of looks like it's working on a little head and shoulders. So if it breaks down here, you might see a little bit of movement, possibly down to that 52 range. Okay, and then ANTM, I looked at this today. It was looking really, really bullish, but again, what earnings are like tomorrow, right? Nice volume, nice close above a lot of our levels. Macro trend is still down and it's heading into that. So a couple resistance zones, got earnings coming up here. So just something to keep an eye on that. You got an ANTM Lotto, NetFry, nice. And Mark, what's going on? No problem, NetFry, my pleasure, bud. Thanks for tuning in, Amar. Yeah, Amar, what's going on? FB? Yeah, I mean, it has some potential here. I like the inside day. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's exactly, kind of a crouching tiger, jack in the box type thing, but it's holding its trend right now with an inside day. So if it breaks this inside day to the upside, we might see a move up and a possible cloud break on that. So we'll just see how that goes. Okay. Yeah. So well, good luck with your lotto, right? A lotto's a lotto. 92 Shamir, what's going on? Amron, let's take a look. Whew, down to can't believe this. I haven't looked at this one in a while. Down to like 15 here. Wow. So in general, right? It's trying, right? So you have this low here. You kind of have this trend line right here. So try to break out here. Failed. Came back down, right? So here's your fresh lows there. So it just needs to close bullishly above these levels right here, and it might get a move. Might get a little earnings run on that. So John, yeah, let's take a look at BAC. Let's take a look at BAC. 1 second. Okay. Wow. Look at BAC just loving this tight channel right here. So yeah, I mean, just absolutely bullish until proven otherwise. I'd love to see it close above these pivots right here, and then get some more volume coming in and start to keep working itself up. So yeah, I mean, bullish until proven otherwise. Very, very nice. Well, good. Oversold? Yeah, I mean, not really. It's not even over the 70 on the RSI yet, right? So I mean, it has room to go. Right, just has to continue to close bullishly, right? Otherwise you might see a couple pullbacks, but it's in this tight channel, right? So just like it did here. So it could get, as long as it gets over these levels right here, right? It could continue. Just keep an eye on the volume, but yeah, it's not over. Yeah, I know exactly what you meant. Yeah, no, overbought on the RSI. It's not even over 70 yet. Last time it was overbought. Let's take a look. A little bit here, right? But just because of how extended it was at different levels, right here, that had a big move up right there, so it got overbought. See how once it gets over that 70 level. So I'm not saying like multi-week swing or anything like that, but in the meantime, just the trend itself definitely worth keeping an eye on. So good. K-Man MC Gaming, what's going on? Yeah, let's take a look at Amazon. So Amazon, gave a big run right into the downward trend line. Okay, let's see if this pops up for us. Yep, there it is. So it gave a big move in the downward trend line right here. So with an inside day. I don't know why it's doing it like it's a tough angle right here. I think that's pretty good. So inside day right at the downward trend line. So a little bit risky right here, but give us some time to see if we can break out of that. I think we'll probably have to wait for earnings on that one. I'm sure premiums are getting pretty ridiculous. Shop. Okay, again, we looked at this a little bit earlier, right? Nice down move from the A. We just have to see if it's working on this, possibly a wave C of B right now to the downside. Apple. Apple's strong. Apple's actually the best mover today off of the go-to list, or off of the at least the kind of like the FANG list right here. So strong, bump and runish, right, and could continue to work its way back up. And CMG, good question on CMG. I didn't look at this one today. Yeah, very bullish today, right? Bullish day yesterday, a nice close above all those levels today. It looks like it's got earnings coming up tomorrow as well. Tomorrow after the close. Just keep an eye on that one. And then and then cost. We looked at that a little bit ago, but a little bit of a pullback here, but possibly viable. Usually Costco is pretty viable there, so it's holding this trend line there. Good. Dumb question, but does elections impact the market? They absolutely do. Came in no dumb questions here, so great stuff. Yeah, no, elections definitely impact the market, right? So I can kind of go back and show you real quick if we go to SPX, right? So November, what was it? 2015, right? 2016, 2020. Anyway, so crazy stuff. Gosh, that was a while ago. Seems like yesterday. Okay, here. So whenever the elections were, right? Yeah, this is like they're kind of going to the elections here, right? Oh, everything's bearish, right, right, and then like Trump wins. So yeah, they definitely affect, right? Definitely affect sentiment, investor sentiment, things like that, right? So if like a socialist wins, or somebody with social, right, then yeah, that would be bad for free market, type stuff, and we'd probably see a big plunge, right? That type of thing. So it's kind of the idea right there. Is it predictable? Not really, but can we use price action to trade it? We absolutely can. So good stuff. MTM, my pleasure. I really appreciate it. 92 Shamir, what's going on? Thank you so much. Any major plays with all the inside days? Yeah, I really like that ATM from session. ATM looks good if it breaks to the upside tomorrow. Facebook could be interesting if it breaks to the upside tomorrow. So those are kind of two ones that I'm kind of looking at. And other than that, I think we're looking pretty good. So, all right, guys. I appreciate you. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If this is your first time here, definitely subscribe on YouTube and catch us on our nightly live streams. We also, tweet other videos. We have special guests, things like that, and also be sure to check out the links in the description. So, thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. I hope everybody has a great rest of your evening.